Well, hello, and welcome to Thursday Weekly Wedding Prep Live. I am your host, Mark Allen Grollo. Okay, I'm the bobblehead version. All right, I couldn't resist. my new, my new favorite thing in the whole world that I came back from Wedding MBA with. Glad to see you here, Jane. Jane presented me with my own bobblehead, and I know it's such a likeness that you were confused for a moment. You thought, "Why is Mark wearing a suit?" I don't wear a suit on these lives, but the likeness is so striking that I know you thought it was me. Uh, all right, enough of that. I got to say, there is a shelf in the mail. It's set to arrive today, and I've been checking every hour. Come on, tracking the package. But I am going to. This guy is going to be on the wall. This has got to be on the wall. Uh, and so Jane gave me this as a gift in Vegas. I also have a Nacho Average Wedding Officiant T-shirt from Jane, and I didn't wear that today, but absolutely love my bobblehead, and I just feel like I can't put it down. It's not right that it's not presenting here with me. So sorry for that. No, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry for that shocking start. I had to fool you. And like I said, I'm just so sad that it's not on the wall yet for today, but my bobblehead had to join me for the very first live since Wedding MBA. As you probably can guess, I am basking in the afterglow of hanging out with all of you at Wedding MBA. Don't want to make those of you who couldn't make it too jealous. I know many of you, it was difficult to get there. You couldn't get there for various reasons. I was worried. I was worried about going. I think that might have been apparent. When I think last week, not last week because I was in Vegas last week at this time, but the week before our very last live, 2 days before my wife and I got in the car, we really had no idea what to expect at the border or with regards to flights. And it was one of I think, the best travel experience I've ever had. Again, sorry for those of you who actually did run into difficulties related to decreased airport capacity and things like that. But I mean, our flights on Delta from Boston to Las Vegas were on time, even early departure, early arrival. Just to to really rub it in, my checked luggage was out first on the carousel. We waited like 0 minutes for it. Everything was perfect about this Wedding MBA. And as the icing on the cake, I got to meet so many of you Unboring Wedding members. We are going to have a members only Google Meet chat where we see each other on the screen and stuff this Tuesday, the last Tuesday of every month. So maybe we can talk more about that as members of Unboring Wedding Academy. And if you are wondering how do you become a member of Unboring Wedding Academy, you get the course, either Academy or Pro, unboringweddingacademy.com. Jump in now, and we will hang out this Tuesday for office hours. But I just want to say hello to everybody popping in the chat. So glad so many of you are making it. I got to get situated here after after starting the show with a bobblehead. But Jerry's here first. Tag the wall. Good to see you. A beautiful autumn morning in the Pacific Northwest. Glad to hear it. This morning I had to scrape my car, and because the cold weather seems to have caught me by surprise, the windshield wiper fluid in my car is apparently like the summer variety. So when those of you who live in a cold climate, you can spray the windshield to get rid of the frost, and I couldn't even do that. This is the first time I've ever seen windshield wiper fluid. I got to get this 40 stuff. When we came back from Las Vegas, it was snowing. We had to drive through snow in northern Maine, and that is quite the slap in the face. I'll tell I'll tell you that. Sarah's here. Good to see you. Hope all of you attended Wedding MBA, had a marvelous time. It was terrible, Sarah. It was the worst time ever. You attended last year. I remember. It was so wonderful to meet you and have you there and get to buy you dinner with all the other members and you're planning on attending in 2026. I'm planning on attending as well, so I hope to see you there. Jane in North Carolina, Jane, who is responsible for this, and I got to say, my one quibble, of course, is the hair. The hair is not it's not quite. See, the hair on the bobblehead is a little bit whiter than this, and I love my bobblehead. In 3 or 4 years, it'll be perfectly accurate, but not yet. I insist. Good to see you, Jane. 65 and sunny in North Carolina. Elaine from the very chilly Isle of Wight. Good to hear that it's chilly somewhere else. Had a day Christmas shopping. My wife and I are talking about how to do all that. Next week, we're going to go and chop the tree down. We have a tree farm locally, and then the week after that is my son's birthday shenanigans, and so we always have to do that the weekend before. Next weekend is Black Friday. I'm very excited because, and I'll tell you now, but I'll say it closing out, Officiantly Unlimited is going to be rolling out for the very first time. We just added a super amazing update. And like I said, for the first time ever, it's going to be available to anyone and everyone, not just members of Academy, but you can purchase it as a standalone product for your officiating. So that's Black Friday next weekend, plus Christmas tree. Then the week after is my son's birthday. And it's just like nosedive into the Christmas season and the holiday season. For those of you who celebrate, it is going to be busy. Hello, fellow Unboring. Sabrina, amazing. Got to sit next to you for our special members dinner in Vegas. And I'm glad I fooled you there. You were dying. So good to see you. Ava, good to see you. Thanks for dinner. It was nice to see you and Naomi. It was so nice to see you. I'm glad you came. I know there was perhaps a moment where you felt a little too under the weather to make it, but you did come out, and I'm really glad for that. Scott is here from Bellingham, Washington. Beautiful day. To quote Mr. Rogers, not quite up to it being a snappy new day, but I'm working on it. Well, yeah, we got biorhythms, right? I didn't sleep last night. I don't know if that's showing in the bags under my eyes. Had this dry cough and stuff. But anyway, we're here. I love hanging out with you. This feels like it's something I really look forward to every week. Yes, the bobblehead is very cute indeed. I absolutely love it. It's my most cherished possession. I love showing it to my family. My kids. Also, my wife was at the dinner when Jane gave that to me. But rolling it out to my kids and my mother-in-law, their jaws dropped. They could not believe it. So, Mark is here, Thousand Oaks, California, with the dulcet tones. Are they dulcet? All right, I'll work on my dulcetivity. Yes, the kids did like it. I preempted your comment there, your question. Good to see you here. That's cute. Yeah, thanks for being here. I think that Dimples, is that Tamara? It's Teresa from Las Vegas. Tell my bestie Naomi. I said, hey, that's amazing. Good to see you, Teresa. We loved hanging out with you and meeting you. Yes, my wife and I are huge fans, having met you. Just laughed all the time. And you are one of the highlights of being in Vegas as well. So I will tell your bestie, Naomi, who's downstairs working in her office. She's a civil servant who works at home. I'll stomp 3 times on the floor or something like that. She'll come running. Great experience. I had thought, oh my gosh, I'm flying Frontier. So you had a great experience, and it was Frontier. See, like some of us just ran that gauntlet, and it worked out well. Hey, Terry, good to see you from Ottawa. I know I was emailing you this week. You are contemplating becoming a member. My old stomping grounds in Ottawa, absolutely love it. The wedding industry there is great. I actually got flown to Ottawa to officiate a wedding for one of the Ottawa senators a number of years ago, and I lived in Toronto, and I got a glimpse of what the wedding scene is in my hometown. Absolutely gorgeous venue. It was an incredible wedding ceremony. And so good to see you from Ottawa. And I think I've mentioned here before, Stittsville is where I grew up. And I know somebody here watches from Stittsville. That's for sure. If you're here from, I think it's Keith, if you're here from Stittsville, say hello. Okay, it is Dimples is Tamara. Watching from Ravenna, Ohio. Good to see you, Christina. And if it's your first time here, please let us know what's going on in your wedding world. I know when you're kind of dropping in here and you feel like it's just all members in the chat, which I absolutely love. I am continually humbled by the fact that so many seasoned veterans come here and join us live. Some of you, it's noon, you're eating lunch. Some of you, you're eating breakfast. Some of you are just procrastinating at work. I'm here for all of it. But if you are boning up for a wedding coming up, this is weekly wedding prep live. And so I do have a number of topics to cover today. You can't see that. The lights are so bright. Look at all those things. Questions that were emailed in. I love the questions that you send in. I'm totally here for it. But also a huge part of it is answering your question live, or even if you want to just pop some scripting in and say, what do you think of this? Or ask for advice about various elements, things that your couple wants you to do. That is what we are here for. Sarah has a wedding today at 3:30. That is amazing. And here you are. Yes, next year's MBA is later in November. Yay, which moves us out of wedding season. I am super excited because I found out, like, on the last day, I believe, that F1 starts the day that Wedding MBA ends. And I know for locals in Vegas, F1 is a nightmare. They're already counting the years till it's out of there. It's a 10-year contract. But this really got my wife and I thinking. We watch every race. I have the F1 subscription on their app, so we put it on the TV. We watch it at our own pace. We are a couple races behind. It's hard to keep up every weekend. But next year, Wedding MBA ends the day of practice, then qualifying is the next day, then the race is next day. I don't think I'm going to be able to leave Vegas while the race is going on. So we are talking about extending our stay a little bit. And it is going to be in the teens next year, Wedding MBA. So just keep that in mind. Sarah says, you're interested in hearing your announcement that you told the attendees of Wedding MBA. Are you talking to me? The announcement that I told the attendees of Wedding MBA. Let me know what my announcement was, and I will let you know. Hey, Jack, I did have a great time in Vegas, and I know a lot of you are. You must be ambivalent about Wedding MBA in terms of, like, that's all he talks about when it's coming up, and then once it's happened, it's all they talk about. But a large part of it, as I said, I mean, I do speak. I did host the room, introduce the other speakers around the expo floor. I got to take out all the members who signed up for dinner, 20 some of us. My treat as a thank you for another great year and being part of the community. And that really is what it's about. We get together once a year, if that, sometimes twice a year. And that means the world to me because I was never interested in just selling courses. That's important. I think the style, the system, the method, that is absolutely crucial. But even more crucial is the community that builds up around it, because those of us who officiate every weekend, you keep encountering things. And Wedding MBA is a real indication of that. The fact that we can get together every year and talk about weddings, talk about things we've encountered, talk about, war stories and the things we loved about it. And you're always encountering new things, which is a segue into some of the topics I want to talk about today. So today I got questions around, should you give your script to the wedding planner? I got asked that. What about some cultural sensitivity issues? Have you, as an officiant, how do we be culturally sensitive when we know maybe there's like an ethnic group, family, friends, maybe we're doing something intercultural, something we know about the couple where we feel like, do I need to take cultural sensitivity into account here? I thought that was a great question. I'd like to give my 2 cents on that. I got asked about intoxication, couple intoxication, wedding party intoxication, guest intoxication. We can cover that. What about somebody fainting? What do you do? What about when somebody objects to the marriage? Any experience there? And there's something that I have seen in my last couple of coaching clients. I do have a package, quick help package, unboringweddingacademy.com/coaching. It's just a quick help very truncated version of the course. It's like some quick training videos, and then I offer to read over the script. But I say that to say a lot of my coaching clients don't get the full course and get exposed to a lot of the methods to my madness. And so I do want to tell you about something that I consistently see, like the last two coaching clients. One of my coaching clients was in Vegas. I woke up on the Monday, did the call in the hotel room, just did another one this week, and I'm seeing a bit of a pattern, something that I want to help you with if it's your first time here. If you got a wedding coming up, if you're writing the script, something that I think is absolutely crucial, and it seems to be one of the biggest mistakes. I know if you Google it, you'll see one of the biggest mistakes officiants make is they get the couple's name wrong, or I don't know, they don't do a mic check or that kind of thing. There is something that I really feel like I need to tell you to bump up your script writing game, your ceremony, how it's going to be received, and help the guests not be quite as anxious. Actually, it might not be what you think. So I'm looking forward to getting to that. It is 76 degrees in San Antonio, Texas. Yes, Sabrina, good to see you again. Reporting on the weather. We absolutely need to know. That is our tradition here. And if you don't check in on the weather, I don't know what's going on. I don't even know why we're here. 41 in Ohio. That's chilly. I'm pretty new to officiating, 4 in the last 12 months. Absolutely love this, Christina. Welcome. You've been considering to do this as a serious side business. I've learned so much from watching your videos. That's amazing. And like I said, I have to recommend Academy with Officiantly, which if you're planning on doing more and more ceremonies, this is the automation platform that makes everything as simple as, a click. You got AI built in. I gave my whole Wedding MBA speech about how to use AI to write the love story if you don't have these tools. I kind of gave a peek behind the curtain, shared some of my prompt stuff, but essentially you're working inside ChatGPT, say, whereas I've built an entire app where you create your ceremony, it manages all your ceremonies, walks you through every question that you need to ask your couple, and in real time it generates the script. Then you can use AI, then you send out the questionnaires. And in fact, next week I'm going to do an entire wedding script training as part of Black Friday, next Thursday and Friday, kind of a 2-part training, full training here publicly for free, showing you the stages of writing a script and also how to use Officiantly with the absolute latest functions that I'm really, really excited to roll out as well. So lots of good things coming. Lisa, good to see you here. Greetings from New Jersey. So this is your time to pop in some questions. Sabrina says you have a wedding this Saturday, finalized the script yesterday, sent copies of the outline to the planner and the photographers. There you go. So that's a great segue, Sabrina. Thank you. Get on track, Mark. I did have somebody in Vegas say, I know your first 15 minutes is just blah, blah, blah of your lives. It's true. So welcome to those of you who skipped all the blah, 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 and you're just jumping in here. You know that the first little while is me talking about Wedding MBA, no matter what time of year it is, and getting the weather round up and saying hello to everybody jumping in the chat. But again, that's what we're here for. That's why we're live. If you want to watch one of my more polished, not this kind of video, just head over. If you're watching on YouTube, switch over to the videos tab and just very to the point, very, very, very get right to it. But these lives are not that, and that is by design. So to Sabrina's point, and the question I got asked by a member who said, he sent me an email and said, look, should I send the script to the planner? Now, my starting place is usually what I do, and I have to say I don't typically proactively send the wedding ceremony script to the planner, only because it's an extra step that, frankly, I don't really want to do. That said, I do know that there are officiants who are very precious with their script. I've seen this in certain other Facebook groups for officiants. They say the planner asked me for a copy of the script. Heck no, that's my intellectual property. I'm not just going to give that away. It belongs to the couple. It belongs to me. It belongs to. I don't want to be glib or flippant about that perspective. If that's your perspective, okay. Again, you do you. I don't believe that the ceremony scripting that I use is particularly precious. I've talked about this before in terms of the elements or how you set up the vows or how you set up the rings. My wedding scripts are not copyable in the sense of my speech is always going to be the story of the couple, what they love about each other, what everybody loves about them. So you can't just copy that. It's not like a wedding planner can take that script and say, well, now I'm going to become a wedding officiant and I'm going to rip off Mark because I have his magic script. It's like, well, you're going to have to write every couple's story, etc. That's what the love story caster inside Officiantly helps you do really quickly and really well. Plus, the questions, which are no secret, the love abouts, and what you ask to friends and family. But I got to say, I don't take the step. But if a planner asks me, can I get a copy of the script for this weekend? Sometimes I send them the full script, so that is an option. That's first thing you can do is just say, sure, here's your script. And I also, I have told the couple you can share the script with your planner. Now, the thing about Officiantly is, and this is something that I actually like, in Officiantly, the couple cannot simply edit the script. They can comment on it. Their script view, and I'll show you this next week in the special ceremony script training that I'd love to run here. I'll show you the couple's view in Officiantly. So they see their whole ceremony and they can comment on it, but they can't willy-nilly go ahead and edit. Now, the old system I had with Google Docs, they could just go in and delete, edit things, delete things. Now, you would see those changes, but I know a lot of officiants said, like, sometimes my couple goes crazy and before asking questions, they just change things and edit things. I believe that couples should have total editorial control over their script. It is their script. It is their ceremony. They're the boss. But sometimes they would just jump in and do a little too much without asking first. So Officiantly prevents that. They get to see their whole ceremony script, but they can only comment on specific lines, and then you can comment on that, etc. So there's just a special couple view of the ceremony script inside Officiantly. So now, I say all that to say, now the couple can't simply, export the script or send a copy to whoever they like. Now, technically they can, if they were savvy, they could go into the URL and copy their link, because it's not a login link. So they could copy their link and send it to their planner, but that would be a little bit strange. I have not had a couple do that. I have not heard of couples doing that for other users. Typically, that is just for the couple because it's through their web browser. You're not sending them a file. And it's understood that when it's in that web browser, their view, that it's a work in progress. So what I tend to do now, if a planner asks, and some of my planners in New Brunswick do ask, Mark, can you tell me, send me a script or send me an outline? That's another option that I do see, Sabrina. You can send an outline. Now, an outline is a separate amount of work, I suppose, that, again, sending the script is easy. Sending the outline, you have to make up an outline. The other option, of course, is to just kind of copy and paste the processional. Typically, when a planner is asking about, a copy of the script that they want to see, it's about the kind of the first 2 pages, I call it. Officially doesn't have pages until you export it and print it out. And that's when I've done that, is I have basically created my final copy of the script. Typically, this isn't until a couple of days before the ceremony, though. At that point, I can send the planner the full script for the rehearsal, or you can just kind of copy and paste a segment of the ceremony script and send that. And by a segment, like I say, I mean kind of the who's coming in before your opening remarks, what the opening remarks are. You can say that because some planners like to, see that you're going to tell people to turn off their phones and they want to see who's standing up there first. And then, of course, what song plays, the processional, that kind of thing. So when I got that question from that member saying, should I send a full copy of the script to the planner? I said, well, there's no should. I think you're kind of a disagreeable officiant to work with when you take that stance of saying, hey, no, I'm not sharing my script. No, the planner says, can I please get, no, I'm not sharing it. Or I'm not sharing anything with you. Now that's an extreme. I think it's more agreeable to say, I'll create the final version of the script, and maybe you can even take out the story if you don't want your speech all there. That's kind of what the couple sees anyway, is the full script without the speech, without the story and what they love about each other, etc. So you could create a version, remove the speech, send that to the planner, or like I say, just export your script and then just send them the first couple pages, because to me that's all they're interested in anyway, and maybe the ending, like who's going to go out in the recessional. But typically I have all the details in the script of who's walking in when, but at the end I typically just say, the recessional so and so walks out, in reverse order. It's not very excruciatingly detailed. It's just coming to mind that I can kind of show you what I mean here. Let me see if I can share this. Now you're seeing a copy of Officiantly. This is a ceremony that I officiated this year. I'm just in their final ceremony script draft here, and this is what I mean. So when you generate the final script, up here there's options to export it to Word and PDF. But this is all the detail. To me, this is what the planner wants. 5 minutes before the ceremony, I check in with Mariah. Where is Mariah? First of all, she's in the bridal suite. Dylan's greeting guests. Catherine's playing music. Here's the lineup. These are all the people. The start of the ceremony, I'm going to take the front, followed by Josh, Jordan, Carol, grandmother of the bride, and Chris. That's what they want to see. Then the opening remarks are all here. Then the entrance. Catherine starts the processional song, Can't Help Falling in Love. The planner wants to see that and know the song. Processional is these ring boys. Landon gives the rings to Chris, Megan, Jackie, Ashley, Lauren. Then please stand for the bride as you're able. Enter Mariah and Gary, father of the bride. Music fades. Gary, do you stand here in support? I do. Music fades up. This kind of stuff here is what the planner wants to see. So this is what I mean when you could basically take all this, highlight it all, copy it, take it. You could export it to a Word document and delete the rest, the speech, or you could just copy this into a separate document, or even write into an email and say, this is kind of the rundown of the ceremony. Now you have your whole speech here, vows, rings, etc. The signing, there's some logistics here. Catherine starts this song. Then the closing remarks, those are all written down here in my final script. And then Mr. and Mrs. Folkens, and then Steve starts. This was DJ. There was a DJ for the last song, which would be of interest to the planner again. Catherine's doing string music for the processional song and the signing song, but Steve's going to do the big leaving, the recessional song, and then Mariah and Dylan recess. And then when the aisle is cleared, the parties recess in opposite order of entry. The reason why I don't typically write all the names here is once the couple heads up the aisle and they make the turn and the aisle's clear, it's just 2 by 2 by 2. People are kind of grabbing their purses, and it's less, or it's not as ordered and slow and formal as the processional. And then, of course, here I have Mark gives the couple's half a license to Debbie, mother of the bride in this case. If there was a planner, the planner would see their own name there, and they would know I'm coming after them. So to give them that piece of paper. So that's an option for you. I would just say, weigh your options. What are you most comfortable with? Don't be disagreeable. Don't feel obligated either, but don't be a tough customer. It is very easy, I'd say, and efficiently, 2 days before the ceremony, 3 days before the ceremony, whatever your process is, so just export that. I would remove the speech. They don't need to see your whole love story and everything. And to me, it's not about being precious with the language. You showing up and being that incredible kind of MC presence, it is the lion's share of what's going to make you so amazing. And then your speech, of course, is what's going to blow everybody else away. And I've said that many times here. The person that you are, like the embodiment of the host performing the ceremony. You don't have to be super gregarious. You just be yourself. There's only one you. So you be yourself. That is why the couple hired you. Or if you're a friend or relative, that's why they asked you to do it. I start every call by saying, why do you think the couple asked you? And it's always good I do that on purpose, because the officiant on the other end of the line, whether it's a member of Academy or a coaching client, why did they ask me? I kind of make them recount the reasons. Be confident. Your couple asked you to do this for a reason. So be that person up there, be yourself. and then you tell the story, and your speech blows people away. What they, the 3 act love story, what they love about each other, what everybody loves about them, and it's absolutely incredible. That's what makes people. That's the officiating. It's not how you lead into the ring exchange or something like that. So don't be so paranoid about that you're not going to share the script. So I just thought that was super a helpful question, and I love to see that you folks in the chat there are expounding a little bit on outline. This is what I meant by outline. Sabrina said, "Hey there, Mitt. Good to see you. Oh, I'm happy to see you. I know you're preparing for your upcoming ceremony, and I believe you asked me the question about sharing the script. So good to see you here, and I'm glad you were here for that." Lisa said, "I had a great chem check. However, I've not heard back from the couple whether or not I have their wedding to officiate. It's been 3 days. Should I reach out to them or wait?" Okay, so this is really good. Thank you for asking a question live, Lisa. I have had this happen before. I mean, I think typically we are used to in the chem check. I always believe in ending every chem check with a vibe check. If you're new and you're like, "What's that?" Basically, what that is when before you book a couple, I really believe you should meet with them. So this morning at 9 o'clock in a cafe in downtown St. Stephen here, I met a couple who are getting married next October. It was great. We chatted for 45 minutes about they've been to Vegas. So we talked about Vegas and Area 15 and the Omega Mart and where they stayed. It was really great. We connected. We talked about their ceremony next fall at the Algonquin. Super excited. And then at the end, so basically you give them the whole rundown, the whole process. Here's how we're going to do our wedding workshop. We're going to start with the classic 10-part ceremony. You do the whole pitch. So that's what Lisa means when she's using chem check or vibe check. That's kind of unboring wedding speak for meet with your couple before they send you money, before you lock them in to book them. You want to make sure that you want to work with them, and they should make sure that they want to work with you, that you're the right officiant for them. I'd love to hear some of you in the chat just comment on this. What would you do in Lisa's situation? Would you fire off another follow-up email now? Would you wait longer? Cast your votes now in the chat. This has happened to me where if I don't hear from the couple that night, here's what I do. Okay, so let me go back to what I was saying because I want to cover this chronologically. I always end the conversation with a call to action. It's like anything in marketing or in sales. You scroll down the end of a sales page or on the website template that we offer for officiants, unboringweddingacademy.com/website. Every officiant page at the bottom should be a call to action. Inquire here. Reach out to me for your booking, right? Every web page should have a goal. Every website should have a goal. Same thing when you're giving your pitch. If you like the couple as you sit with them, end the conversation with, so have you made a decision? This is what I did today. I looked across at them. I said, so have you made a decision? Would you like to discuss it a little bit and get back to me? Where are you at right now? And that kind of puts them on the spot. And I think sometimes we're uncomfortable to do that with folks. But I think it's really important to not end the conversation kind of slinking away and being like, well, that's me. So have a good day. Hope to hear from you. That's not the way to really present yourself as a professional. And so, in fact, the bride today was like, wow, very professional of you. So, professionals recognize professionals. You see it, you know it. And I said, so have you guys made a decision? Would you like to let me know now? Would you like to, let me know? These folks are going on a long drive today. They're driving to Quebec. So I said, would you like to discuss it on your drive and get back to me? And they said, we're gonna talk about it in the car. We'll probably get back to you in a couple hours. And they did. Right before we went live, they said, will you marry us? And so bang, I've sent them the link. That said, sometimes I don't hear from a couple. Obviously, the ideal is when right on the spot they say, we want you. And so today was like, oh, they still want to discuss it a little bit. All right. And they did. And I felt confident about the outcome. But sometimes the whole day goes by and I don't hear from them. Now, that's no reason to be stressed because maybe they are meeting with other officiants, which is also great. If you're locking down every single couple, it probably means you're kind of reaching too low to the bottom of the barrel or your prices are not high enough or something. You actually don't want a 100% chem check success rate. contrary to popular belief, there should be a bit of, I don't want to say friction. You're not making it hard on your couple, but you should be kind of an aspirational goal. You should not be for everybody. Your pricing should be perhaps a little bit too high for some people. This is all okay. Let me just get to what I was saying now. If it's the end of the day and I haven't heard from the couple either that night or the next morning, first thing, I have a template email ready where I reach back out to the couple, say, I loved meeting you today or yesterday. Just wanted to let you know, I'd love to officiate your wedding. I want to reiterate that. And I also attach a script. I say, here, I just want to give you a sample of my work, because up to now they've just inquired and you have made a meeting with them. But I like to say to them, here's a sample of my work. Here's a script from a wedding I officiated last summer. I'm not saying this is prescriptive. Again, you've already described to them in the chem check the whole process of working with you and how you make their ceremony come into the world, their unique ceremony, everything they want, everything they don't want. Do they want religious stuff? Do they want a reading? Do they want unity rituals, etc.? You're going to do that in the workshop. You assure them of that. But then you say, here's a script. I want you to read it. It includes the story. It's got my style. It's got the level of detail you can expect. And just let me know if you have any other questions. I'm here for you. That's my method, where I do that follow-up poke the night of or the next morning. Now, if I do not hear from them within about a week after that, so I don't know if this is just, if it's going to stick in your head, you're like, I still haven't heard from that couple, maybe it's bugging you, or maybe you need to set a reminder for yourself 7 days after. Just go into your Remind app, or however you remind yourself, an egg timer, I don't know. But typically 7 days, a week after, is when I say, hey, and the subject matter is just, all these templates are included in the pro course actually as well. So those of you who are pro members, you see these. I just include these emails for you. But I just say, hey, I'm reaching out one last time before I give away your date. You want to kind of say, this is a sense of urgency. You're not going to just keep them simmering on your calendar. That's what the retainer fee is for. The retainer fee is for that couple to sit on your calendar. That's the privilege of their names occupying a Saturday in your calendar. So I say, just following up one last time here, I'd really like to officiate and just wanted to check back in with you, circling back one more time here before I give your date to someone else. Thank you so much. Again, let me know if you have any other questions. So that way, you've met with them, you followed up with them and gave them a sample of your work. And a lot of time I get a response from that email if the couple hasn't reached out yet. And they say, oh my gosh, this script is amazing. We read the story. We don't even know this couple and we're crying over here. It was so beautiful. We want that for ourselves. So give a copy of your best work out as a sample to prospective couples. You can do that as well. I would say, for my couples, and here's just, you might be thinking, well, what about the legalities of that? My couples, when they book me, they sign a release, basically, of all their photos, of their script, everything. It's the same way a photographer owns all the photos that they take, even though your couple is the subject. They're the ones in the photos. Similarly, in my contract, I have my couple sign a release that say I can use any pictures, I can use any scripting, I can use any stories from your wedding. That's what they sign off. So if you haven't done that, you might want to change the names or any particulars. And again, it's a real script you're sending to prospective couples, but the names are changed, say. But for me, it's like I just take my best ceremony from last summer and I share it out with prospective couples, because again, my couples have signed off that I can do that kind of thing. I can use it for any purposes that I like. So that's essentially the roundup. Ask them, call to action right there at the end of the conversation, a follow-up the night of or the next morning with a script, and then 7 days later, just circling back here one more time. Haven't heard from you. I just want to ask where you're at, if you've made a decision before I give your date away. And again, if you get ghosted after that, well, it's not really ghosting, because your date is now available and you're under no obligation to hold it for a couple. So that is kind of how I would answer. I wonder if there's any good stuff in the chat about Sabrina says, oh, Sunday, great to meet you. Follow-up email right after the meeting. Okay, so Sabrina's like, boom, right on it. I include my ask whether I should send them a contract. That's amazing. Great. Okay, Terry says, this just happened. I sent a follow-up email following up to ensure they received my email, asking if they had any other further questions. talk again about the retainer fee. Okay, so the retainer fee, I'm wondering what you want me to say specifically. Let me see. Is it 3 days? Is that okay? It's 3 days. So, Lisa, I would say if you haven't sent Sabrina's equivalent of like right after the meeting, it was great to meet you. And if you haven't sent the, my process the night after, like if today's couple hadn't reached out to me tonight, I'd probably schedule an email to go out or send it manually or do it tomorrow morning. That's kind of the like, hey, loved meeting you. Here's a script. Let me know if you have any more questions, like kind of prompting them. So if you haven't sent that one out, Lisa, I would say, 3 days is well timed to do that. I would say, though, if you have sent that one out, then wait a few more days. Give your couple about a week. And this is where I'm going to say again, the call to action at the end of the conversation is really helpful, because sometimes your couple will say, if you say, have you made a decision? Would you like to discuss a little bit more where you're at? Your couple will say, oh, we're just thinking, we're not in that big a hurry. We're going to meet with a couple other officiants. So you get a sense sometimes there that like, okay, they're just kind of still shopping around, kicking the tires. Obviously, they met with you. It's pretty serious. But again, don't feel discouraged, because not every you shouldn't be locking down every single couple. A 100% booking rate is overrated. And in fact, I would say if you are doing that, your prices are probably too low or something like that. So it's okay if people decide to go with someone else, because you shouldn't be the kind of officiant who is everybody's cup of tea. That's just not that's not a thing. So I would say that's what I would say. Now, the exception to this is the big fly in the ointment here, is if another couple asks for that date. So that's a major thing. If another couple asks for your date, and the other couple that you met with even is kind of dragging their feet and not getting back to you, well, to me, right away, the second I get an inquiry, I want to reply to inquiries the same day. I really believe in striking while the iron's hot. I don't care if I'm at a dinner party. If I check my email and I see I get an inquiry, like I'm like, oh, I got to reply to this right away. You want to kind of beat. There's lots of stats on, the officiant that replies first gets the worm. The early officiant gets the worm, bird. And so you want to do that really quickly. And so that's why if you've met with a couple and they're just kind of like dragging their feet, you can help them make the decision, build in that urgency by saying, I've got another couple who's actually asking for your date. Again, you always want to be honest about this. You don't want to create false urgency by saying, I got another inquiry, and you don't really. But that's a deal breaker to me, is if I'm at day 3 and the couple is saying, is not getting back to me and I have another inquiry, then I'll break my 7-day, you have priority. I want to hear back from you. If so, that would kind of force the other couple to make a decision. Then I can reply. I won't reply to an inquiry and say, hi there. Oh yeah, October 10th. That's absolutely fantastic. Your wedding looks amazing. Look, I got another couple though, waiting to see if they're going to book me on that date. No, that's not a good look. I want to reply to every inquiry by either saying, yes, I'm available, or no, I'm sorry, I'm booked on your date. I reply to every inquiry with either I'm available or I'm booked. There's no in between, which means sometimes you got to help other couples make a decision if their names are kind of tentatively sitting on your calendar, which is a good segue into talk again about the retainer fee. The retainer fee is essentially just what less savvy folks might call a deposit. We've just learned that so basically, I believe in splitting the payments in 2, not 3, not 4, just 2 payments. So again, I charge $1,000 plus Canadian taxes for officiating, which means, like, for example, this couple that booked me today, I explained to them, in order to fully retain me for your date, in order for me to put your names in the calendar, what you're paying for is basically for me to reserve that date for you. Now, I only do one a weekend, so I say I reserve the whole weekend for you. In your case, you'll say, if you don't do that, if you do stack multiple ceremonies, you'll say, in order to reserve my time on your wedding day, and the rehearsal if you include it. I include that. I had the big conversation with my couple today. Rehearsal's included. Obviously, paperwork filing is included. No other fees. Travel, because I only travel really close. The Algonquin is about 20, 25 minutes away. I say that's all included. And in order to lock me down and secure me, you will pay the 50% retainer. I don't call it a deposit. The reason for that is during COVID, or we learned the hard way. A lot of us, thank goodness, I never needed to return a deposit. But if you say pay a deposit, even if you call it non-refundable, which I do, it's a non-refundable retainer. That you definitely need to use that non-refundable verbiage. And the pro course has my whole contract where I walk you through that. I've talked about this here on other lives where we've built a contract together. Make sure the first 50% is non-refundable. You do not want to, 6 months from now, have to be refunding people from deposits that they made when they decide to change their wedding day or date or move it somewhere else, or they call the wedding off. No, I'm sorry. In order to book me, it's a non-refundable retainer. Now, again, retainer is just that. It means you're retaining me. You're paying for my spot on the calendar. It's not like some sort of first payment towards the officiating gig. When a couple sees it that way, when they say, oh, I'm paying you 50%, I'm paying you half now for an officiating gig you're going to do a year from now. Well, if they cancel their wedding or that kind of thing, then they feel like they're entitled to get some of that back. Well, we canceled our wedding. You really didn't do any work. I didn't do any work, but when you're a professional officiant with only a limited number of Saturdays, 52 Saturdays in a year, or especially if it's your busy season, 6 prime Saturdays in the fall tends to go first, then, it's pretty major. The fact that you are going to reply to 10 other inquiries for September 22nd and say, no, I'm sorry, I'm booked, sorry, I'm booked, sorry, I'm booked, sorry, I'm booked. That's what your couple is actually paying for. They're not just paying for their names in the calendar. They're paying for you to say no to all those other inquiries for the same date. So when you phrase it like that, you don't need to exhaustively say it like that, but you're creating the proper expectation in your couple's mind. Excuse me, told you I was up all night with a dry cough. That's why I have my decaf Earl Grey right here. Then you're setting their expectations of, oh, I'm paying for a spot in your calendar. Mitt's like, yeah, thank you, Mark. I got it. Awesome. Right of first refusal for a second inquiry. That's a really good way of saying it as well. Okay, so thank you for that. That really got me on a tangent. Hopefully it was helpful. I always do a recap of what we talked about. I had some general info on getting their license and go for the ask. So that's in the follow-up email. So Mitt says he'd fire up a follow-up email. Absolutely. And like I say, just you heard what I said about that. Is it time? Is it not time? It depends if you've already sent one out. And so, I'm with Jane says, I do a recap of what we talked about, which is really cool. That email can be long. It can be like, hey, as a refresher of what we said, blah, 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 blah. But what I love is, again, to send a script. Then they have this tangible thing that you've given them. I've talked about this a lot here, kind of that quid pro quo. When you give something, people feel like, they want to return something in kind. And so that's where sending a script, giving them a script to read over, and especially if it's very moving, like the ceremony you're most proud of, a really great story, it'll really help them. It'll really incentivize them to get a sense of whether or not you're the officiant for them. But if you are, oh my gosh, we want to lock this person down. My goodness, time has flown. I wanted to address the question from Scott about cultural sensitivities. It was a really good question. Have you ever had a case where you have officiated kind of a cultural, a couple with a particular cultural background where you feel a little bit, worried that if you're not from that culture, you're not really understanding, or maybe you're kind of abrogating or violating some cultural norms that you're not aware of? That is really, really good. It's always worth considering that, erring on the side of sensitive, and I absolutely value that. In Toronto, I got to say, I did a lot more kind of multicultural, interfaith, non-waspy white weddings than I tend to do here in New Brunswick. I'll give you an example, and this is where the premise that I would say is the starting point, is to remember always that, and I was going to say it with me, but I guess I got a few mantras, don't I? But your couple is the boss. So as the wedding officiant, it is paramount that you remember who you work for. You work for your couple. You meet with your couple. Your couple, again, chose you, whether you're a professional or a friend or relative. So always put your cultural sensitivity cap on. You always want to be erring on the side of being sensitive, being aware. Uh, that said, the example was given of, I officiated a Chinese wedding, and I've done the same at the Shangri-La Hotel in Toronto. Super fancy, looked very formal, kind of a stern crowd. But I did not want to be stereotypical in any way. And I remembered this is a super fancy affair. Sometimes those rooms can really intimidate people, like a gold dragon chandeliers. And it was an incredible venue. But I remembered my couple when we sat in that Starbucks downtown Toronto and they decided to hire me, as opposed to somebody who was Chinese, for example. It's because of what I brought. And this is where you want to be confident in the style and system that you provide. This couple met with me. They were both top lawyers in the city. So again, you're thinking very straight laced or whatever. Again, just stereotypes about lawyers or stereotypes about a particular ethnicity. This can inform cultural sensitivity, but it can also, like I say, be unhelpfully stereotypical, because this couple wanted the unboring experience. So this is where when a couple hires you and you start to feel that way. I did a wedding where the bride was Indian, and they did not want East Indian, and they did not want to kiss. It was a first and only ceremony where I say, I now pronounce you husband and wife. And typically we would say, you may kiss your bride. PDA, extremely frowned upon in that cultural setting, in this Toronto community, the East Indian community that the bride was a part of. And she said, no, we will not kiss. And I was like, wow. But then I thought there's no reason why they need to. And so really, I just pronounced them, and they hugged and they turned to their guests, and kind of everybody cheered, and there was some confetti thrown. And then I said, we're going to go sign the paper. So everything about the ceremony was the same. But here's again, the thing that I really want to drive home here is it needs to be couple led. So any cultural sensitivities you might feel, and your sensitivity might be coming from you more than it is from your couple, check in with them. So as they talk about their family in the wedding ceremony workshop, as you get a sense of their community, if you feel like, okay, I don't want to run afoul of any cultural mores here, or norms or things like that, ask your couple, but let it be led by them. Is there anything culturally I should be aware of? As you plan their ceremony, they are going to, just by default, be telling you what is okay and what is not okay. Again, if you've done your job in the chem check, the vibe check, you're going to tell them, I'm going to tell your story. And then you work with them in the workshop. You tell them, I'm going to warm people up in the opening remarks. They're going to see it in the script. Are you ready to get these two hitched, etc.? This is where the couple, when it came to you may kiss the bride in our wedding workshop, I said, how do you want me to say that? Kiss your bride? And they're like, she was like, oh, no, there won't be any kissing. I was like, oh, okay, great. It was very couple led. So any of those things that are going to come up are going to be by your couple. And then I would just say, again, if you're looking out and you're seeing moms or something like that from an ethnic or cultural background that you're not familiar with, or maybe you have internal biases or stereotypes, remember who you work for, as the saying goes. You work for your couple. They have cleared everything in the ceremony. And, I wouldn't think that you're doing anything culturally insensitive if your couple wants it done. And even if you are, again, you work for your couple. So I think, part of the question was by talking about their first date and, the intimacies of how they got together. And again, let's hope it's not too intimate. I have heard some couples talk about, that first night on Tinder, etc. But now we're getting married. That's a matter of personal preference anyway. Whether it's cultural or not, you want to decide where that line is. Sometimes your couple will share things in the love story, and I always tell the couple, don't share something with me that I wouldn't want grandma to know. I always say that. And then for me too, I'm going to remember that it's very likely an intergenerational, if not intercultural. It's going to be an intergenerational crowd. So I like my ceremonies to verge more on PG. Sometimes if I get there and it's a really rowdy crowd of just adults, all with a drink in their hand, I might ad lib a little bit. Not recommended if you're not experienced, but make an aside about something that they told me in the story that I knew. It hit the cutting room floor because I expected grandma to be there. But if you look out and it's not that kind of scene, again, they'll typically tell you what the vibe is going to be, who's going to be there. You're going to have lots of clues ahead of time. So just remember, your couple are the boss. What they want or don't want in the ceremony based on their cultural or ethnic background, community, people that are going to be in attendance, that's going to come up when you perform a very thorough workshop with them. And honestly, cultural or not, I'll never forget when I officiated a wedding one time. My point here, before I tell you that anecdote, is cultural or not, there are going to just be some people in the seats who are like not happy, who are scowling at you the whole time. That might be about personality. That may be by counter transference. You're setting them off for some reason. You remind them of some terrible teacher they had or they hated or something like that. Like there's going to be some of that. I remember one time I officiated a wedding. Half the room was absolutely thrilled. I think it was like his half or something, his family. It was a very small, intimate setting. In like an inn, absolutely gorgeous. Think like gilded colonial style. And half the room was smiling and happy, and the other half crossed arms, scowling, only there out of like family propriety. And it was unbelievable. And it had nothing to do with culture. Everybody was very, again, white and waspy. But I was like, there is something at play here, and it's uncomfortable. So you're not always going to be able to read in the sense of like, is this proper? Is this upsetting people? Is this not? Be yourself, do what your couple wanted. And if you're very clear in your chem check, or if your friend or relative in your wedding workshop, they will flag what they want, what they don't want. You'll get a sense of family sensitivities. It's good to ask. But also you don't want to kind of be racist. Like, oh, you're X ethnicity. Is this going to be a problem where X, Y, Z? Like, they might be like, what are you talking about? We're all like third generation Canadians or Americans here. So there is that. I would say don't be stereotypical, but do be sensitive. It's always good to err on that side, but also then don't be self-conscious. So it's like a lot of like, yes, but also, but this and that. Remember who you work for. Let your couple take the lead. And when you get up there, and while you're doing your ceremony, while you're performing this unboring style and system and telling the love story and talking about how they met in the first date and the proposal, just remember, my couple wanted this. They are loving this. They knew this was coming, and I'm here for them. Okay, so we got here great perspective. Front load the solution with your professional transparency. Absolutely. So thank you for that question, Scott. And I'm glad I was able to make some sense there in my sleep deprived state. Yeah, this also applies to queer couples. Get the pronouns right. Absolutely. Yeah, have that sensitivity. I love performing weddings for queer couples, gay couples. They're typically the most understanding in terms of when you're just trying to get it right. It's like maybe when you're trying to speak another language. It's the fact that you're trying. When I went to Korea, people were delighted that I was trying. And the same thing here. You want to get the pronouns right. You want to make sure you say, Mr. and Mr. or Mrs. and Mrs. or whatever they ask. But again, it is led by them. I've had some same-sex couples say, they want very kind of, they want to roll with that kind of traditional heterosexual kind of ceremony, and others, they really want to shake it up and they want it to look like something different. You can't know that. You can't go in to approach a same-sex couple or a queer couple and say, oh, okay, you're a queer couple. I know what you want. Based on what? The last time you officiated for a queer couple, or they want something completely different. So it's the same with like a Chinese couple or an Arabic couple or anything, a white couple. It's really got to be particular to what they want. We really want the bespoke experience with a lot of sensitivity around that. I love cultural weddings, research and ask the couple. Absolutely. Mark says, once more, you've articulated things I know, feel, and practice with more precision and detail. I come here like going to a woodshed. Okay, I'm glad it's to sharpen your axe, not the other woodshed where I take you behind it, Mark, and with a switch, right? Maybe that's my My upbringing too much at work here. All right, we're not here to talk about the virtues or non-virtues of spanking. I'm not taking you behind the woodshed, Mark. You're sharpening your own axe. I can't believe that it has been an hour. I really wanted to talk to you about more. This should be a 2 hour. I wish it was next week this week, because next week I'll be here on Thursday and on Friday. And like I say, I want to essentially give a free training with your questions like this, and maybe covering some of the things we talked about today. I did tease the thing that officiants are doing that I'm seeing as a mistake. Let me say it here because I teased it, and I'd be remiss to kind of tease it and then leave without it. What I'm seeing is that when I'm reading a script from a friend or relative officiant, I always say you need to include your own reflection. If you're a friend or relative, the speech formula that I teach in the course and that I talk about all the time is write the love story and then tell what the couple love about each other, and then tell what other people love about them. There's a process to get all that information. And then if you're a friend or relative, wrap up that section, what everybody loves about your couple, with a reflection of your own. Watching the two of you, I love, maybe you're a parent, maybe you're an aunt, maybe you're just a best friend. Watching the two of you together has been such a privilege. I love watching you together. So you've read what everybody loves about them, but then you talk about what you love about them. And they kind of expect that from me. I can't do that as a professional because I don't know the couple apart from, the couple of meetings we've had. But if you're a friend or relative, you want to do that. The mistake that I am seeing, and I have a produced video, the only 7 to 10 times, you'll recall we did this last year, the only 7 to 10 times an officiant should say should refer to themselves. Watch that video if you're curious about what the 7 to 10 times are. But I do stipulate in that video, do not start the speech with all kinds of I references. Now, I know when you sit down and crack your knuckles to write the ceremony script for your couple, blinking screen, you approach it from I. And so a lot of officiants that I see start the speech with a little anecdote about when the couple asked me to officiate. So there I was, we were at a campfire one night eating s'mores, and they turned to me and they said, "Will you marry us?" And I was so thrilled, and I'm terrified. I've never done this before. I hope, and I love you two so much. Now listen, I'm not poo-pooing that little anecdote. What I'm saying is you never want to start a wedding which belongs to the couple. It's about the couple. Everything should be about the couple. You're a giant mirror. You're just reflecting all the attention coming towards you back onto the couple, always, 100% of the time. So that means do not start a ceremony talking about yourself. It's a huge mistake. It's a turnoff for the guests. People are wondering how you're going to do anyway. Like, even a professional, somebody who's never seen me officiate before, I know they're sitting there being like, there's a lot of idiot officiants. There's a lot of terrible officiants. There's a lot of boring. What's this guy going to be like? So right away, I want to win the crowd, which is why you need the opening remarks that are amazing. But when your couple after the procession are standing in front of you, you start it with them. Here they are. They're getting married. They're perfect for each other. Can I get an amen? How did they get here today? I want to tell you the story of Sam and Alex. It started, our love story begins with Sam working the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. Sam and you get right into it. Then the guests are like, okay, we're in good hands. This officiant is talking all about the couple. Now, if you were the kind of officiant who did write that big opening remark about not opening remark, the opening to the speech, opening remarks are before the processional, the opening to your speech about yourself, maybe you needed to get that out of your system. You look at it after, you're like, oh, I really like what I wrote. And usually I do like what I read. I always suggest, now take that and just move it right to the end of the speech. Sometimes you don't even need to touch anything. Because think about it. If you start a speech with, "I'm so nervous. I love you guys. I remember that night that you asked me to officiate, and I'm so, I've never done it before, but I love you so much." If you say that off the top, guests are like, "Oh, geez, we've got an inexperienced officiant. Are they making it about themselves?" You're like ratcheting up the anxiety. But you take that same speech and move it after you tell the love story of the couple, make everybody laugh and cry. What your couple loves about each other. Everybody's crying. It's beautiful. What everybody else loves about them. You send some emails out that you asked your couple for, and you say, here's what we love about you. You're effervescent. You're helpful. You're so generous. You're so kind. And then you say, And I remember that night when we were having s'mores by the campfire and you asked me to officiate your wedding. There's no greater honor, etc. My goodness, that is going to just land right in the center of people's hearts, because now you have shown what an incredibly skilled, officiant, and generous and selfless officiant you are, because you told the story and what they love about you. You just spent 10 minutes talking about them. Now it's okay to say, I am so honored to be your officiant. I've never done this before. I don't advise you say that, but again, if you've crushed it for the last 12 minutes, it's okay to say, I decided to take this on, and I'm so glad you did ask me, because I love the two of you so much. When you make that the ending of your speech, not a dry eye in the place. Beginning of the speech, there's not a dry palm in the place. Everyone's palms are sweaty because they're so nervous that you're about to spiral and nosedive, make it all about yourself, and kind of wreck the ceremony. Okay, so that's your little tidbit for the day. Write about yourself, sure. Make it to the end of the speech, not the beginning. It makes a huge difference. A lot of time, it's not what you said in the ceremony, it's where you said it. And that makes a massive difference. It makes all the difference, okay? All right, that is it. Mitt, great to have you as a part of the group. I absolutely love that you took the plunge. You became a member. You're working on your ceremony, asking great questions. Amazing. TMI, all right, I will take that under advisement. You compliment me here, and then, yeah, it was the woodshed thing, wasn't it? It was the woodshed thing. Keep sharpening that axe, Mark. I'll sharpen mine, and then we'll meet next year, hopefully in person, and we'll sharpen each other's axes on each other. All right, that's it. We got to go. I should have just let my bobblehead do this session today. Thank you so much to all of you for joining me live. We didn't get to all the questions. We'll bump some of them to next time. Keep your questions coming. Like I said, join me next week. We've got a Black Friday special where I am opening up Officiantly to the entire world. I'm going to pop a link in the chat here. If you want to be notified of Officiantly going on sale on Black Friday morning for the very first time to any and all everybody people, I really should have gotten more sleep last night. There's a link there in the chat where, like I say, you can sign up to be notified and sent the link first thing Friday morning, but next Friday morning. But I will be here live next Thursday for the first of two parts, where I want to talk to you about the 10 stages of writing a wedding ceremony script. And I will be demoing out writing a script in Officiantly, not just so you can learn the crucial parts of writing a wedding ceremony script, but so that you can see Officiantly in action. I know a lot of you are inside Academy, and so you have access to one ceremony. A lot of you are founders. You have purchased a lifetime membership, which when we launched last year, that was a special 2024 launch deal. But like I say, it's going to be available next week for the first time, kind of far and wide. And so I want to show you everything you can do. And for some of you, there's an update coming that none of you have seen before. It is the script template update, so you can actually create your own favorite wedding scripting inside Officiantly and select that when you are creating the ceremony. And then you can personalize that so that every time you create a new ceremony inside Officiantly, your own favorite wording shows up. We've been beta testing that. We're going to send it to some testers next week. I'm super excited to share that with you. So I will see you next Thursday, same time, same place. If you're a member of Unboring Wedding Academy, we have our office hours this Tuesday, live in person on Google Meet, so you can all be on camera, all be on video, and we'll shoot the you know what and have a great time together. Never too late to become a member. unboringweddingacademy.com. I really look forward to hanging out with you next week. 3 days with members on Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday here live. So looking forward to it. Mark says, Officiantly is essential. Don't hesitate. Spring for it. And thank you. Mark is a founder, so he knows what he's talking about. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving. I know that. So that means some of you can't make it. Some of you can. We had our Thanksgiving a month ago here in Canada, so we're all turkeyed out. But absolutely. I know some of you, it's football, it's turkey. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you if you can make it. It's Thursday is Thanksgiving. I'm aware. I'm not, but I'm going to be here. So you can catch the replay or you can join me live. I know some of you are traveling, but some of you, you say, listen, I'm going to walk around and prepare the turkey stuffing with Mark in my ear. Bring all your bobbleheads. That's right. And Thursday is Turkey Day. So I'll see some of you because it's Thanksgiving. And I won't see others of you because it's Thanksgiving, but I will be here. We'll watch at the gym or the kitchen. There you go. That's the spirit, Mark. Thanks so much, everybody. Love spending time with you. You make this real special coming on here with you live. I look forward all the time. And see you next week multiple times. Till then, marry on. Thanks again.